How are you, and welcome to another video from the Open Author. My name is David B. Lyons, and today I'm going to discuss how you can compose the perfect query letter for an agent or a publisher. Let's get straight down to it. Okay, so how can you compose the perfect query submission to an agent or a publisher? Well, do you know what? I don't envy it. It's not the nicest part of the whole process of being an author. I was where you are now not so long ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where I was submitting to dozens of agents on a daily basis. And in fact, I had submitted to 40 agents, nearly 40, I think it was something like 36, before I finally nailed a publishing deal. And I just got continuous rejection letters. Every morning I woke up, there was a new email saying thanks but no thanks, with no sort of critique of my query at all. So it's quite difficult to understand exactly what agents and publishers are looking for when you write off to them saying, can I have a publishing deal please? So I'm going to detail to you now exactly what's required when you go and seek a representation from an agent. Now, this is what's key. This is your Bible as an author who is unsigned. It's this. It's the Writer and Artist's Yearbook, okay? The Writers and Artists Yearbook. As you can see, this was a couple of years ago when I was critiquing, although I was the tail end of 2016, I guess. So what this has inside it is a list of all of the agents and publishers throughout your region. Okay, so you will buy this book based on your region. I bought it for the UK and Ireland, although it does have agents from Canada, Australia and United States in it as well. But what you do here is you turn to the agents page with a list of all the agents. You go through them, as painstaking as that is, and extract the agents that suit the genre that you want to write in, okay, or that you have written in. So you don't want to query every agent. You want to extract the agents that are in this book that would suit the type of writer you are. So that's the first thing you do, is you extract a list of all the agents that you could possibly query. And then we get down to how we query them. Now, what is query? Query is you writing a letter with a couple of attachments that I will go through now in a second, that will request, so you're querying an agent requesting that they represent you in trying to land a publishing deal for your book. Okay, so the query will encompass three key elements to every query, and they are: 1, a cover letter; 2, a synopsis; and 3, the first 10,000 words of your novel or thereabouts. Okay, it could be the first 3 chapters, or some agents might ask for the full manuscript. It's very rare that would happen, but it could happen. But mostly, given my experience, and I've researched ahead of this video, the majority of agents look for the first 10,000 words or the first 3 chapters, and that kind of aligns itself to a similar word count all in all. So they're the 3 elements. You need to provide a good cover letter, you need to provide a perfect synopsis, and you need to include your first 10,000 words or whatever it is that specific agent is seeking. So we're going to go through each of those 3 elements. So why don't we start with the cover letter? Now, the cover letter will be written within an email. Okay, so remember, we have extracted the agents we want to query, and we have a list of them maybe on an Excel sheet or in a Word document or whatever. So we take their email address. I'm going to talk you through this as if you're in primary school. We put it in our email. We put in the subject and the title of your book, and perhaps in brackets submission. Okay, now some agents, this is why you must check their website. They might ask for specifics on what should be in the subject line. So if they do, make sure you follow. And if they don't, I would recommend, as suggested, the title of your book and in brackets submission. And then what goes in the query letter? Well, the query letter will be put right in the bed of your email, okay? So your query letter will be about no more, I guess, than 400 or 500 words. And so many people get this wrong, but I'm going to go through to you in sort of fine detail the elements that should be in your query letter. Rule number 1, address it personally. So if you have found and extracted your agents, you are going to want to address your cover letter directly. Now, I know this sounds like fucking primary school lesson, but again, so many first-time authors get this wrong. So if you are querying, for example, Curtis Brown agency, don't address the cover letter, "Dear agents of Curtis Brown." Find out which agent it is exactly that you wish to query that suits your genre, and then you find out that her name is Susan Smith. You're addressing the email, "Dear Susan." It's that simple, okay? I know I brought you back to primary school there, but you do not want to send out a blanket email to an agency or to dozens of agencies, all addressed in similar way, okay? "Dear agent" or "Dear agents of Curtis Brown." You're not going to endear yourself to an agent within the first sentence, okay? So address it personally. Now, the first paragraph within your cover letter should detail your book. Get straight to it, okay? Because there's no point in you waffling on about who you are and your past as, you know, a copywriter for a marketing firm. Forget that. Your agent is going to want to know what your book is about, so get to it. So, "Dear Susan," and then you will go straight into what the title of your book is, and you can, within that first sentence, detail the genre and the word count of your book. Now, what you want to do then is to give an elevator pitch of your book. So what is your book about? And when I say elevator pitch, I mean as short as you possibly can. So can you detail what your book is about in about 2 or 3 sentences? I'll give you an example. If you are Suzanne Collins, who wrote The Hunger Games, well then I've written down what a elevator pitch for The Hunger Games would read like here. So in just 2 or 3 sentences. In a dystopian future where the separation between the rich and the poor has widened immensely, reality TV involves randomly chosen participants from the poorer districts to enter an arena in which they must fight till the death until one participant is deemed the winner. Now that is an elevator pitch for what The Hunger Games is all about. So it's simple, it's 2 sentences, and it describes the genre and what the book is about. And it's very simple. So that's what you need to sort of do in your next paragraph, is just give an elevator pitch to what is outstanding about your book. Now, it's not easy, so you need to sort of work on this. How can you detail to somebody what your book is about in the shortest way possible? And you have to sort of hook them in as well. So don't be bland. Don't give too much detail about characters. Just tell the agent or inform the agent what your book is about in 2 or 3 sentences. And then the next paragraph you're going to write about in your cover letter is going to be all about you understanding the market. So can you, in 1 sentence, liken your book to contemporary novels that are out there at the moment? If you can do that, an agent will be impressed by it. So what is on the shelves right now that your book would sit in between in major retail stores? So just give 1 or 2 examples of that, and the agent will sort of get a deeper impression or understanding of just what you are pitching to them. Now, the last paragraph that will sit under that is sort of personable. You're going to give a little bio about yourself. Now, you don't have to say, "My name is David and I grew up in Dublin and I have a sister, I never had a dog." Like, yeah, I mean, what we're trying to do here is give, within about 3 or 4 sentences, an idea of the type of person you are in order to be the author you want to be. So, for example, my background was in journalism, so I had some writing skills and deadline meeting skills that would sort of, I guess, impress in some way an agent and let them know that I'm serious about my writing career. But if you don't have writing background, as if you haven't been a journalist or you haven't written copy for a marketing agency or content in some way, well then you might sort of detail what experiences you've had in the past that led you to writing this particular book. So if, for example, your book is a romance story and you've loosely sort of formed the 2 main characters from your mum and dad's beautiful marriage and relationship, well then sort of detail that. Or if you have written a dystopian futuristic novel, a bit like The Hunger Games, and you got the idea because you're particularly interested in politics and you understand the difference between the 1% and the 99% in America, and you've taken that and sort of driven it into the future, explain that in your bio. So something that relates to why you wrote your book, or something that relates to you having a real serious ambition to be an author. So something that will make the agent go, this guy or girl is serious about what they do. Okay, and then you're just going to sign off your letter. So I know I've gone through an awful lot there, about 4 paragraphs that should be in your cover letter, but bear in mind, I've been through this process and been successful off the back of it. So if you wish, I can share the cover letter that worked for me, should you wish to avail of one of my services about getting this package right, getting the cover letter right, getting the synopsis right, and getting the first 10,000 words right. So I will read your cover letter and synopsis and first 10,000 words should you wish before you send it off to an agent, just so we together can perfect it. And as part of that service, I will show you the letter that worked for me, and we can sort of work around the elements that worked for me that we can implement into your letter too. So that's the cover letter. That's element number 1 of the 3. The second one is the synopsis. Now, a synopsis kills writers. So even authors who have had 10 books, when it comes to repitching to their agent or to their publishing company, they fucking hate having to write a synopsis. Now, a synopsis is not a blurb, okay? A blurb is something that should tease me into wanting to read further. So a blurb is something that's on the back of a book, really, about 150 or 200 words, that teases or intrigues me enough to want to go to the cash tale and buy the book. A synopsis is not that. A synopsis details everything in your book. Now, of course, your book is probably 80,000 words, and the synopsis is only supposed to be maximum 1,000 words. Some ask for 500 words, some agents. So basically you're trying to fit it on 1 page or 1.5 pages maximum. But what a synopsis is, it details everything that is major that occurs in your book. So should you include that end twist? Absolutely, you include that end twist. I know you hate giving it away because you want an agent to read your book as it should be read, but an agent will want everything that's in your book condensed into about 500 or 600 words. And in that, of course, you must give away all of your best bits. I know it's painful, but that's what a synopsis is. So condensing your entire manuscript into about 1.5 pages, highlighting all of the best bits in your book and detailing why they're specific. Now, a ninja tip that I would give you here is to make sure that you write in the same tone or the same narrative style or voice that your manuscript is written in, because it will really lend itself well to the agent reading your synopsis and then reading your first 10,000 words. But do please check with each individual agent on their website when you're extracting them from this book to what they want exactly in the synopsis, because some might ask for just 500 words, some might ask for 1 page maximum. But if they don't specify, you could probably get away with writing up to 1,000 words and maybe 1.5 pages or thereabouts. But the synopsis, I'm afraid, has to give away all of your genius within your book. Because really, a synopsis is not going to be read by anybody other than an agent or publisher who might be taking you on. So what you want to do in a synopsis is sell this book to them. Give them away all your best bits in this 1.5 pages or 1.5 pages, and really convince them that this is the book that they should be investing in. So that's the cover letter and a synopsis, both fucking painstaking. I know they are both a pain in the ass. But the third element that you will be submitting to a prospective agent is your first 10,000 words. Now, I say 10,000 words. It could be 3 chapters, or some agents again may ask for the full manuscript. Again, make sure you check with their website. Geez, I should get commission for flogging this book. But the first 10,000 words, I guess, is your manuscript. It is your craft. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you how you should write or what you should write in your first 10,000 words. Otherwise, we'd be here all day. And of course, I have done other videos on the craft, so you can check them out on my website, theopenauthor.com. But the first 10,000 words should have an awful lot of hook in there that will intrigue the reader. So you should be implementing your hook as early as you possibly can to make a reader go, oh yeah, I want more of this, and keep turning the page. So you'll want to entice your agent by giving them enough hook sort of early on. A ninja tip that I would give when you're submitting the first 10,000 words is sort of cut it off on a nice cliffhanger for the agent, make the agent want to continue reading. So if you've got a good cliffhanger about 8,000 words in, yeah, just submit the first 8,000 words and make the agent want to come back to you and say, send more of this on, I want to read what happens next. Because ultimately what you're trying to do is get this agent to fall in love with your manuscript. So, you know, if you have a good hook at 8,000 words or even at 11,000 words and they're only asking for 10,000, I think you probably benefit from leaving it off at the hook, even if you are sort of edging over the 10,000 words or a decent bit under it. So again, your main job here is to sort of entice the agent to want to read more and then come back to you and say, send me on the full manuscript. Because if they come back to you to ask you to send on the full manuscript, you've crossed a line that an awful lot of people don't get to cross, and you are getting ever so closer to landing that deal. Now, the unfortunate thing is that agents receive about 500 manuscripts a week, and you really need to stand out. So it's important that you don't give an agent any reason to just dismiss your email. So again, if your cover letter doesn't cover appropriate points, they will dismiss your email before they even read your submission. If your synopsis does not give away the ending and you've only half-arsely written it and it reads more like a blurb, they will not read the first 10,000 words. So you need to get every element right for each individual agent. Now, as I said, I do work with authors in terms of getting their query process right. I will detail your cover letter and help you write that. I will detail your synopsis and help you write that, and I will reconfigure or work with you on the first 10,000 words to ensure there's enough of a hook in there and something that will intrigue an agent. So if you want to, I will, in the link in the description below, I'll put a link to that service. It's at a very, very reasonable rate, so do avail of it should you be sort of, as I was, frustrated with the querying process, because it's difficult and it's time consuming and it's very frustrating to sort of write that synopsis and perfect it. So do seek help with it. It's not the easiest part of being an author, submitting to agents or querying agents, but just try and relax with it. As I said, there's no point in just rambling off email after email to every agent that you will find on the internet or in this book. So do be specific. Only pitch or query to agents who deal with the genre that you've written in. If you have any questions on this, feel free to get in touch with me through my website, theopenauthor.com, and I will answer any questions you have. Okay, that's it for today. I'll see you at the next video.